I think if we reach an understanding how far we go with out-of-area operations and what is the raison d'etre of the out-of-area operations. Is it an independent new mission, independently from our Article 5 defense agenda, or is it still a national or alliance defense operation and is always weighed against our defense interests? This is, I think, a crucial thing, because otherwise we may end up in confusion if a question comes, shall we go or shall we not?
Communicate the very simple message that what NATO is all about is security and stability for its people. Nothing more and nothing less. And leave it to the expert to deal how this is going to be done.
How does NATO be an effective actor in a globalized world? We live in a world of globalized threats and globalized challenges and globalized opportunities, and we are a regional alliance within the North Atlantic area. How does that actor, that regional actor, act effectively in a globalized world? That is the challenge we face. It's a challenge that we face as individual countries. It's a challenge that we face as an alliance.
Close the gap between those who believe that expeditionary missions are essentially the nearly exclusive domain of NATO, and those who believe that NATO isn't doing enough to address their threats of territorial defense. To me, the gap between the Afghanistan firsters and the Article 5 group is the most divisive debate in NATO now. The new strategic concept should make it absolutely clear that yes, we will be doing expeditionary missions.
It's difficult to define only one. I would mention two, if possible. The first one is the proper balance between the operations, and second, the proper balance in views among the bigger and smaller countries, to make sure that this is our strategic concept, that each member state can identify itself with this document. That's very, very important.
It must deal with renewing commitment to the defense establishments across Europe. That is perhaps the thing that has become lacking in many, many cases. That need not be part of the strategic concept, but it must be part of the dialogue. There should be no head of state and government who sits down and signs up to the strategic concept who hasn't also thought through with his people, with her people, the implications financially, the implications manpower in terms of the health of the people that they deploy into these operations, the implications of agreeing to that document.
Always when you say there is one thing you have to deal with, then I think that ignores the complexity of this world. We have to face our many threats. So if there is one priority, is that you look at all the threats and you make a selection out of that. So that's how I deviate your, your question. But I think that's essential. Then you go too far in simplification, and that's exactly what we don't need.
The scope, and being an economist, the resource of responsibility. If you say, we will take care of all major security situations in the world, and that's our vocation, then let's from the very beginning decide what will be the resource. When I'm in Washington with some of my friends discussing the initiative of Mr. Medvedev of the global anti-missile system, they say, let's start talking with you guys, because at least you know what you're talking about in terms of money, technological possibilities, and existing structures.
I think cooperation. I think rationalizing the forces to have a credible force that can be projected. You know, NATO has always been a forum for dialogue. And I think the more that dialogue happens, the more we understand each other, each of our different cultures, each of our different countries.
Well, not so much what must be changed, but what must be retained. And I think let's not forget that the current strategic concept has a lot of merit in it, and I don't think that it should be a change for the sake of change, but there should be a retention of the core principles of Article 5 and collective defence that I've already referred to. And but yes, let's look at the new emerging threats that are now out there and round it off in that way.